The air in the grand banquet hall was thick with the scent of lilies and expensive champagne. Everything was perfectly arranged for a celebration. Rowan stood at the altar, his eyes fixed on Aurelia. He had spent years building a foundation for their future, believing in their shared, quiet life. But as Aurelia took the microphone, the warmth in the room suddenly evaporated. Her smile wasn't one of love, but of cold, calculated triumph. She looked at the guests, then at Rowan. "I cannot marry a man who is so mediocre," she said, her voice echoing through the silence. The ring felt like a lead weight as she pressed it back into his palm. "Rowan, you are simply not enough for the life I want." Gasps rippled through the room. Rowan's parents lowered their heads in shame, unable to face the public humiliation their son was enduring. Rowan didn't shout. He didn't beg. He simply closed his hand around the ring and offered a dignified nod to the catering staff. He walked out of the hall, his silhouette fading into the bright doorway, leaving behind the wreckage of a life Aurelia thought she understood. The following morning, the sun rose over a quiet townhouse. Aurelia arrived to collect the last of her things, feeling a sense of relief. In the metal mailbox by the door, something caught her eye. A thick ivory envelope sat among the mundane bills, addressed in Rowan's elegant script. Curiosity overrode her pride. She broke the wax seal, expecting a final plea or a bitter goodbye. Instead, her breath hitched in her throat. The letter wasn't for her, but for a future she had discarded. It spoke of a secret life, one that began 5 years ago on a rainy night. The memory was sharp. A car accident that claimed Rowan's brother and sister-in-law, leaving behind a terrified, blue-eyed girl named Alara. Rowan had stepped into the void. He had promised his dying brother that Alara would never feel alone, no matter the cost to his own happiness. Every Saturday, when Aurelia complained that he was busy or unavailable, Rowan was actually miles away, creating a world for a child. He helped her with fractions, tucked her into bed, and wiped away her nightmares, all while keeping his struggle hidden to protect her peace. Aurelia's hands began to shake. She remembered calling him boring. She remembered telling him he lacked ambition because he refused to work late on weekends. She had wanted a man who was a priority in the social world, never realizing he was already a hero in a much smaller, more important one. The letter ended with a simple wish, that his future wife would love Alara as much as he did. It was a testament to his devotion. Somewhere, Rowan was sitting on a porch with Alara, finally free from the judgment of a woman who couldn't see his worth. Aurelia let the letter fall to the floor. She had won her freedom, but she had lost the only truly decent man she would ever know. She turned another page. This time, there was no letter, just photographs, hundreds of them. Rowan learning to braid a little girl's hair, sleeping beside a hospital bed, teaching her to ride a bicycle, holding her after nightmares. Every photograph carried one date, the same date. Aurelia had been posting luxury brunches, complaining online that her fiancé never made enough time. Then she reached the final page. One sentence. "If you're reading this before becoming his wife, please forget everything you learned today. You were never meant to know." She sat on the hallway floor, unable to breathe. Not because Rowan was secretly wealthy, because she finally understood. He had been carrying an entire family, while pretending everything was fine. But fate wasn't finished. That evening, social media exploded. Someone uploaded the rehearsal dinner video. Millions watched Aurelia humiliating Rowan. Most people mocked him, until someone recognized the little girl in one of the leaked photographs. A nurse commented, "I know this man. He spent almost every night in the pediatric oncology wing," another replied. "He anonymously paid for my son's treatment." Then another, "And my daughter's surgery." By sunrise, dozens of families had shared stories. Not about a millionaire, not about a CEO, about an ordinary architect who quietly helped strangers without telling anyone. The internet changed overnight. The same video that humiliated Rowan became proof of Aurelia's cruelty. She called. No answer. She texted. Nothing. She drove to his office. He had resigned. She went to his townhouse. Sold. She visited his favorite coffee shop. They moved. Moved? Who moved? Rowan and the little girl. No forwarding address. For the first time, Aurelia realized she hadn't lost a wedding. She had lost the only person who had ever loved her without asking for anything in return. 8 months later, a children's hospital unveiled a new family center. Aurelia attended as part of a marketing campaign. She froze. Standing on stage, helping cut the ribbon, was Rowan. Beside him stood Alara, holding his hand, and beside them was a woman she'd never seen before. Dr. Celine Armitage, a pediatric oncologist. She wasn't glamorous, she wasn't famous. But when Alara wrapped her arms around Celine, it looked effortless, like she'd belonged there forever. The hospital director smiled. We'd like to thank Rowan and Dr. Armitage for completing Alara's adoption together this morning. Adoption. Together. Aurelia couldn't move. The ceremony she destroyed had eventually led Rowan to the family he was always meant to have. After the crowd dispersed, Aurelia approached him. I read the letter. I know. I never should have. No. You shouldn't have. Tears rolled down her face. I would have stayed. Rowan looked at Alara, laughing with Selena nearby. Then back at Aurelia. No. You would have stayed. After learning who I really was, Celine chose me before she knew any of it. That's the difference. He smiled politely, not with anger, not with revenge, just peace. Then Alara ran over. Dad! She grabbed Rowan's hand, then looked up at Celine. Mom says we're going to get ice cream. Mom. One tiny word. It shattered everything Aurelia had spent months trying to rebuild inside herself. They walked away. 3 shadows, slowly disappearing into the afternoon sunlight. Aurelia never chased them, because for the first time, she understood something no apology could ever fix. She hadn't lost Rowan, because another woman was better. She lost him, the moment she decided. That kindness looked too ordinary. Sometimes, the greatest mistake isn't choosing the wrong future. It's humiliating the person who was quietly building one for someone else. The end.